Today's question is, why did Jesus refer to James and John as the sons of thunder? In this video, I'll answer that question from a biblical perspective. Then afterwards, as always, I'll share some helpful resources, so stick around until the end. In Mark chapter 3, Jesus calls 12 men to be his apostles. Among them are James, son of Zebedee, and his brother John. To them he gave the name Boanerges, which means sons of thunder. Mark chapter 3, verse 17. This is the only place in Scripture that mentions the designation of the sons of Zebedee as the sons of thunder, and there is no stated explanation as to why Jesus named them this. However, Jesus has a purpose for everything he does, so he must have had a good reason for dubbing James and John as sons of thunder. Jesus knew all men. He did not need man's testimony about man, for he knew what was in a man. John chapter 2, verses 24 and 25. In other words, Jesus knew the brothers' nature when he first met them, and he chose Boanerges as a fitting nickname. In one vivid incident, we see that James and John possess some truly thunder-like qualities. Jesus and his disciples were traveling through Samaria on their way to Jerusalem when they ran into trouble. Jesus attempted to find accommodations for the night in one place, but was met with opposition from the villagers, simply because his destination was Jerusalem, a result of Jew-Samaritan prejudice. When the disciples James and John saw this, they asked, "Lord, do you want us to call fire down from heaven to destroy them?" Luke chapter 9, verse 54. Jesus rebuked the brothers, and they all went to another village. James and John's response to the Samaritans reveals a fervency, impetuosity, and anger that couldn't properly be called thunderous. And we can be sure that there were other times when James and John lived up to their nickname. James and John were two of Jesus' closest friends, being two of the inner three disciples. See Matthew chapter 17, verse 1. As the church age began, James was the first apostle to be killed, while John was the last to die, although of old age. John's epistles, written late in his life, hint he still possessed a fervency of spirit, especially in his denunciations of apostates and deceivers. However, it is a fervency tempered by love. In fact, in 1 John, the word love and its relatives occur over 40 times. When he first met Jesus, John was one of the Boanerges, but after walking with Jesus for a lifetime, the Son of Thunder earned a new nickname, the Apostle of Love. Want to learn more? Subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Visit gotquestions.org for more great content, and check out the details section below this video. There you'll find one book I recommend, along with several links to related questions. If you'd like to learn about Bible Munch, or if you're interested in bite-sized devotionals, subscribe to Bible Munch on YouTube. It's linked right here. Now remember, got questions? The Bible has answers. We'll help you find them.